What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Twin Wrestle Pod. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Hey, listen, it's been a minute. I want to say one of my last videos I made was the Intercontinental Championship Tournament predictions or whatever the case may be, and we are on the ending of 2024. So this video, we're just going to talk about Monday Night Raw, the last episode of Monday Night Raw on the USA Network, bringing WWE's historic run of Monday Night Raw shows on the USA Network to an end as they begin a new era into Netflix. I don't know the details. I just heard details somewhere. It might be anywhere the RAM of like $5 billion or some shit like that for 5 years on Netflix, and with another 10 years like another 5 on the back end, so overall 10 years or some shit like that for $5 billion. I don't know the details. I don't look into the details. Maybe that's something I'll look into that stuff more in this coming year, right? 2025, as I bridge out and try to do more things within the wrestling content realm. But tomorrow I'm probably recording tonight, but tomorrow I'm going to drop my best moments of AEW, and I'll do my best moments of WWE of 2024. Those will probably drop on the 1st and 2nd respectively, and then I'll do a mix of the bad of both companies, probably spliced in there as well. So I'm gonna get on that. But the reason we here today is to talk about the last Raw of 2024. This was a good show, okay? Not the best show. I've seen better shows. And this was just pretty much a bolster promo package for what to expect on January 6th on Netflix. And WWE is putting all the stock in this Netflix show and debut, okay? You have matches. You have Rollins versus Punk. Reigns versus Solo for the Ulafala. You have Ripley versus Morgan for the World Championship. We just got confirmation during the show that we had Jey Uso taking on Drew McIntyre on this January 6th show. And we have something I'm so fucking proud of, man. I'm so fucking proud of this. And I got confidence in Triple H to book this guy the right way, man. And during this course of this episode, we have a teaser, as they've been teasing it for the past 2 or 3 weeks now. Zero Miedo. No fear. And y'all know how much of a fucking fan I am of that. I give this guy praise every time I talk about him. Even when I did my free agents video back when Becky Lynch left WWE, he was in one of the free agents I was talking about. And the guy I'm referencing is none other than Penta F-Zero Miedo. No fucking other guy I'm referencing than Pentagon. One of my favorite wrestlers of this current generation, man. Like I said, I was a fan of him when he's Evolution Underground. Fan of how TNA used him. TNA used him very well. He became their world champ. I love the whole Pentagon Dark character. And I've always been saying this for these last couple years I've been on this channel. If Tony Khan would have gave this guy a singles run, he has so much more stock in the singles run, even though we know him and his brother do the tag team. But Penta is so good in the singles run, bro. It's crazy. Now, WWE couldn't make it more obvious, and they blatantly just told us without telling us. If you know, you fucking know. I'm gonna put the image up on the screen. I'm gonna do a whole breakdown of him debuting. He's doing a debut on January 6th. It was teased because they've been doing these backstage segments with the New Day, the recently turned heel New Day, and Rey Mysterio being a locker room leader. They did it on tonight's show. I'm gonna get to it. And they said they're going to have a tag team match. And a New Day mocked Rey Mysterio, like, who's going to be one of your Rey Mysterio cosplayers, representing Dragon Lee, Hat Guy, represent Zion, what the fuck is his damn name? Dude from TNA, I don't remember his name. And Cruz del Toro. But the little smoke screen threw out there. And then to have Penta's promo later on. Matter of fact, even before that, like, man, that's gonna be Rey Mysterio's partner, man. Now, I'm gonna break that whole thing down in another video. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm just so happy that Penta is coming to WWE, man. I'm excited for that, bro, because that's one of my favorite wrestlers, man. So shout out to my guy, man, for real shit. All right, man, let's get into this show. Couple things, man. We had to kick off the show. We had the New Day coming out there. Couldn't get a word in. They were getting booed. The whole Dominic Mysterio, how they did, not to quite the level they got booed on a couple weeks after they broke up, after they turned on Big E. The next week they were booed out of the entire arena. Not on that level, but to the point to where they couldn't get a word out. And then Jey Uso came out there. I guess Jey Uso was supposed to come out there at the beginning, but the New Day interrupted. Jey Uso came out there, and then Xavier Woods was saying how they go back. They do. Everybody remembers the Hell in a Cell match between the New Day and the Usos. Remember that infamous Hell in a Cell match? They had one of the best Hell in a Cell matches ever. That on top of their whole rivalry together, going way back. So yeah, a lot of history between the New Day and the Usos. And Jay said, yeah, we do go back. But he just said he had one thing to say to them. And that was that New Day sucks. And Xavier Woods stepped up to Jay, but Kofi backed him up and they etched the ring. And then after that, Drew McIntyre, as you can see in the background as the camera was focusing on Jay, he came from the crowd and he attacked Jay. And then later on in the night, we had backstage segment with Jey Uso and Adam Pearce. And Adam Pearce letting him know that it's official that he will take on Drew McIntyre on the January 6th episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. So that's how we got to that situation. Then we get into the matches. The first of the night, we have Chad Gable of American Made taking on the Alpha Academy's Otis, which I don't really care about this matchup. I didn't really care enough to watch it, really, honestly. I feel like, okay. So back during, I want to say it had to be during the summertime or a little bit before the summertime, where Chad Gable was just this ruthless asshole, this dick towards Maxine, Tozawa, and Otis, to the point where the whole crowd was behind Otis and wanted Otis to put Chad Gable on his ass. That's where they had the most heat. And shout out to Triple H for booking that the way he did, right? To get people actually invested and care about those characters. But then Chad Gable just dropped it. Like Triple H just dropped it. Like he went and got by himself, went teamed up with the Creed brothers and Ivy Now, and then, you know, came American Made, right? And then we just focused on other things. The Wyatt Sits. I ain't gonna say his focus was on them. They just kind of catapulted him in there to the point to where we thought him and Otis was going to face prior to the Wyatt Sits thing jumping off, but they didn't. So they decided to hold it for the last very show of the end of the year. And I just couldn't bring myself to care about it. Chad Gable was interviewed before the matchup, and he was saying how everybody was saying Chad Gable can't win a big match. He can't win a championship and this or that. He's going to prove his doubters wrong. But at this point, we don't know what to believe, man. Because, like, every match he's in, he's going to fucking lose for the majority of the match. He went to SmackDown, lost against Cody Rhodes. Lost against Gunther. He lost against Bo Dallas. Granted, he wasn't going to beat Bo Dallas. But still, that's the point, right? We knew Otis wasn't gonna beat him. Come on, he's on a more bigger totem pole than Otis is at this point, so he wasn't gonna lose that match. But Chad Gable defeated Otis. Hopefully, with this transfer portal thing that WWE has going on, we have him move. I think Alpha American Made would benefit much more from a move to SmackDown. But now with that SmackDown going 3 hours, and I'll get onto that later in the week. But I think that group would benefit more from a move to a different show. Get them away from Alpha Academy. Get them away from the Wyatt Sits. And let Chad Gable get in the mid-card scene and actually win a championship and see what he can do with it, right? So hopefully we'll see what happens there with Chad Gable and American Made. Next up, we had Butch attacking R-Truth, which, yet again, something I didn't really care about. I love R-Truth. Love him to death. But we've been getting these ongoing segments with him calling Pete Dunne Butch. Like I thought he was bearing that name. Like to go from Pete Dunne to go from Sheamus to R-Truth, you know, it's just kind of like, what are we doing here, man? Like, all right, if he beats R-Truth, then what? Where he goes out of that? I think he'd be another guy that benefits from a move to SmackDown as well. With SmackDown being 3 hours, we're going to have to get some superstars on that show. But we had Bush come out there, attack R-Truth for a match or whatever. That didn't happen. So, didn't really care for that. Honestly, do not. Hopefully, on sometime during the Netflix premiere within the 2 weeks, Butch beats him. I mean, I'm calling him Bush, but Pete Dunne beats beats R-Truth and ends this program, because he needs to get away from this program. He won't get far with R-Truth. Then we had our semifinals match in the Women's Intercontinental Championship matchup or tournament. We had Dakota Kai taking on Zoe Stark, as one of the commenters in my previous videos predicted, because they had the impending storyline with the Pure Fusion Collective and Damage Control. So that linked up. I just thought when this tournament was going, like, being booked or whatever, I thought it was being like a little more like, okay, let's put some top tier superstars that don't get like some sort of reactions, right? But they decided to go with Zoe Stark. Granted, Shayna Baszler did lose in the first round, so you had to have a member from the Pure Fusion Collective in here. So we had Zoe Stark taking on Dakota Kai, and it was no mystery that Dakota Kai was going to beat Zoe Stark, which she did. And like I said, doing my predictions, I think she will win the whole thing. But now with this whole storyline, I'm having second thoughts a little bit, because during the midst of all this, Sonya Deville released a video. I think when I don't want to say when EO was added, but when somebody was added, I think it might have been Dakota or something. She had dropped a video on Dakota while she was in her car or something like that, about her deserving a shot at the title, or this or that. So I think Sonya Deville will play a factor into the finals of that match, of the finals between Dakota Kai and whoever she faced. We'll get to later on. After that, we had the Judgment Day, who debuted a new song. I guess this is a Death Rebel special. I listened to a little bit of the song. I don't particularly dislike the song. I think it's different. They're trying to separate themselves from the Judgment Day of old, right? And trying to usher in a new era of the Judgment Day. Rather that be just Finn just leading everybody else, and Finn bringing on different people, so forth and so forth. But I think a little bit more listen to the song, I can get with it. You mean, I love The Other Side by Alter Bridge. It's a dope ass song. So give this song a little bit of time as they debut a new one. I thought if they were on a debut, they should have debuted on the Netflix debut, but they're not advertised for that show, so I get it. They took on the War Raiders and Damian Priest. Yeah, another match I really didn't care for, honestly, because Damian Priest has been going against the Judgment Day since SummerSlam, and that's like 4 months ago, and we're still on this Damian Priest versus Judgment Day thing, so didn't really care for it. Obviously, Damian Priest pinned Dominic Mysterio, which we've seen him and Dominic Mysterio in the ring probably 2 or 3 prior occasions, so no surprise there. Didn't really care for it. After the match, Finn Balor attacked Damian Priest's leg and left him laying. So obviously we're not done with Finn and Damian Priest. No telling how long Triple H is gonna let this linger out to. Maybe Priest eliminates Finn in the Royal Rumble, then you get them at Mania, so forth and so forth. Who knows? Then we had that New Day segment I was telling you guys about in the back, where they announced that they will have a tag team match against Rey and one of his Rey Mysterio cosplayers in the LWO. But on January 6th, there's gonna be a different member of the LWO. Granted, I hope he don't be a part of the LWO. I just hope he is be there to watch Rey's back, and that being Penta. So I'm excited for that. I can't wait to tune in next week. Then we had Lyra Valkyria taking on Io Sky in our finals, our final semi-final match to determine who would face Dakota Kai for the Intercontinental Championship. And it was I was leaning towards it, but I feel like with Lyra being where she is and how she was at the beginning of the year when she got drafted, how they was booking her, I feel like some of that will be back in Rhea's head. And it was, but they wanted you to believe that we were going to get a Damage Control final between Dakota Kai and Io Sky to see who was become the new and first ever Women's Intercontinental Championship, but we didn't get that. We got Lyra Valkyria beating Io Sky in a hell of a matchup between these two. When two great wrestlers in there, it makes majority of the time makes for a great match, and we did get a great match between Lyra and Io Sky. So now we have Lyra Valkyria taking on Dakota Kai, and I guess they were going to do this on the January 6th premiere of Raw on Netflix, but with all those big powerhouse matches they already got announced, like Roman Solo, Punk, Rollins, Rhea, Liv, now Jay and Drew. You know all this stuff is gonna take up a lot of time on that show, so not surprised. But they had put the finals for the Intercontinental Championship. Now it's 2 weeks away and going to be in San Jose, California. So the week after the January 6th premiere is where we can get the finals for the Women's Intercontinental Championship between Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria. And I'll make my predictions for that. I still want to go Dakota, but some in the back of my mind is telling me something's going to happen during that matchup that to make a crazy outcome. And that was pretty much all the things that happened on Monday Night Raw until we got to the main event segment, which was the segment which shouldn't be no surprise to no one, because these two guys mixed in with Drew McIntyre have been killing it this entire. Their chemistry is off the fucking charts. Whether you want to do CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Punk, Seth Rollins, like any combination you want to put in with those three guys, they have been killing it on Monday Night Raw in terms of their programs. Period, point blank. But we had the final build for CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, and these two, and this promo exchange that they had, the main event, did everything they needed to do. They checked all the boxes to get you invested into their match on Monday next week on January 6th premiere of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. They did their job. They fucking killed it. Like I told you, I referenced like 2 weeks ago when CM Punk had that sit-down interview with Jackie Rittman, and he was saying how Seth Rollins is a second string. And now that the starting quarterback is back, it's time for the second string to sit on the bench. I told you guys about that 2 weeks ago when I referenced that promo CM Punk cut. That was an awesome ass promo. This one, these two had a lot of bars back and forth, right? And they referenced Vince McMahon without really referencing Vince McMahon. And I thought that was pretty cool, man. Like for CM Punk to integrate Vince McMahon in the parts of Seth Rollins saying that CM Punk took his ball and went home, and how CM Punk referenced how Vince McMahon coined Stone Cold as in taking his ball and going home, when that actually wasn't the thing. Even though Austin in later years said he regretted doing that decision, but Austin left purely because of the booking at the time. Creative was dog shit around the time, and he was well within his right to do so, man. You don't know the story. They wanted him to lose to Brock Lesnar when Brock Lesnar was first coming up on an episode of Monday Night Raw. And you don't do that to a guy like fucking Austin. Talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, the guy who ushered in. If it wasn't for him, WWE wouldn't be here today. Period, point blank. Just leave it like that. And you don't just say fuck it, you don't lose in a qualifying match to Brock Lesnar on Monday Night Raw. Instead of you building something up. That's a spit in the face to someone like Stone Cold. So he left and never came back. He was gone for a whole year and never came back. So I like how CM Punk brought that up. And even a great indicator in his promo was that he said, no, Stone Cold didn't take his ball and went home. He was actually right, because the guy in charge was wrong. His ego couldn't take that Austin was right. So he wanted to coin a term that Austin took his ball and went home. So I like how CM Punk integrated that in his promo. And he referenced Stone Cold and he referenced himself. He did a little references to Becky Lynch. He asked Seth, he ain't seen Becky Lynch in a while. Did she take her ball and go home? So that was a pretty good dig at Seth Rollins. He proceeded to ask Seth Rollins, let's not talk about the last 10 years of why CM Punk left. Let's talk about the last 10 months of CM Punk being back in the company. And he asked Seth Rollins, what about your injuries? What about your neck? And Seth Rollins did a neck gesture like, neck's fine. He said, what about your knees? He said, which one? Like referencing both of his knees is fine. And then he said a pretty good line about why he left the company. And the reason he left, because he had to. CM Punk referenced this the time he was out as well. And he brought up this indicator about arrows and people shooting arrows, and how he was just taking the arrows that people were shooting over him over the course of the past 7 years. And as time broke down and we got closer and closer to him returning to pro wrestling, he was taking these arrows out of his back periodically. And one of those guys who was throwing arrows at him, shooting arrows at him, he referenced was Seth Rollins. And he was saying how he collected those arrows over time and came back to the business And now that on January 6th, he's going to take those very same arrows and put it and shove them down Seth Rollins' corporate throat. So I thought that was a pretty cool line by CM Punk. Very fucking cool. Like that comeback by Punk there. And it was Rollins' turn to retort to CM Punk's comments. And Rollins said, "You don't get the big brother me. You came back to the sport and went to the competition." And he referencing AEW, and he said, "How did that work out for him?" We all know how that worked out for CM Punk. A lot of backstage altercations that happened, brawl out, you name it, so forth, right? He referenced that, and he told CM Punk, even when you left, you infamously went on your buddy's podcast and told everything about the company. Referencing Colt Cabana's podcast as the infamous podcast that we all know he dropped, that he did in 2014 about the Z-Pack and all that shit. So you know. He then brought up Punk. He said, "I never told you this, but you're a cancer. And you're a cancer in his mind. He's a cancer in the locker room. He's a cancer for the business." And he said the only way to kill a cancer is to cut it out or some shit like that. And at January 6th on Netflix, he's going to kill that cancer, CM Punk. He says he's going to bring all this rage, all this anger, and he's going to bring it to Netflix, and he's going to burn CM Punk to the ground. And he drops the mic. And these two, man, in this promo exchange, they killed it, bro. Like this is like the start of the year that they started, and that first promo exchange they had in fucking March and February. Well, they started in January, remember? Then go to March when CM Punk tore his tricep with Drew. Now all the way back here. Throughout the course of the year, these guys have been killing it, man. So it ain't no surprise there, man. Monday Night Raw, the last one of 2024, was good. Not great, but it was good because it's setting up everything that we want to look forward to on the January 6th premiere of Netflix on Monday Night Raw. I can't wait, man. I'm really excited for the January 6th premiere. So that's gonna do it for my video on the last Raw of 2024. So be on the lookout for my top moments and videos of both companies of 2024. And I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Y'all take it easy. Peace out.